Sup shitters, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today I have myself a track, or we have ourselves a track by an act named T Ledger, and this is titled Heartbroken off the Sue Me I Want to Die album. If we switch over to here, we have ourselves a cat smoking cigar. And we are going to listen through this track from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go.
Feels alright. Heartbroken. I get shit in the lesson, I can play shit as well. Everybody shit around, let go to the shit. Feel like I'm way down on F, something every day. Funny Monday, next on the roll. Sitting just every show, then a race. I come in the class.
There is a lot to talk about with this one. This is one of those reviews where I'm concerned I'm going to get in trouble for it. So we're going to try it from the start.
Alright. What feels alright.
I'm not quite sure what's being said here. I know he's using a bit of vocal fry here, but I'm not quite sure what's being said there, along with those kind of synths with the slow attack on the volume.
I get shit in the lesson, I can play shit as well. Everybody shit around, let go to the shit. Feel like I'm way down on F, something every day. Funny Monday, next on the roll.
It's like the percussion sounds really fresh and I'm really digging it. And we've got those synths from the intro. I can't quite make out what's being said in the vocal part. It's just a shame because like the vocals I think are a little bit quieter than the rest of the elements in this mix, or they could be, but they're lower than the brightness of some of the other parts. And by the brightness I mean the higher frequency elements. It's like, yeah.
Screamer is hard. Give respect to you guys. Sorry, I'm not the best at it.
It's okay. I heard that part, right? Yeah, screaming is hard. Yeah, no, doing the growlies, doing the growls, like the middle, like rock and growling and stuff is really, really difficult. It takes a lot of time to develop that technique to do it. Because there's like doing it the way you think it's meant to sound, and then it's understanding your vocal cords and doing it in a way that will suit you as an individual in terms of your vocals. And professional like rock and metal vocalists who have got not only the vocal fry sorted, but also the growls and stuff like that. They either know how to do it and they make a career for themselves being able to do it incredibly well, even teaching people how to do it, you know. Or you've got the alternative, which is someone going to hospital to get their vocal cords looked at because they've done it too many times without the right proper technique and they've really destroyed their throat.
Try it one day. I want to try every single genre. Every single genre. I'm fucking lame, but I need to time myself out because I'm manic. I won't be able to sleep tonight unless I make a fucking 30th album. And the thing is, I'm not the best at everything at the same time, but everything is that coming through things.
From what I'm hearing here, it sounds like T Ledger is having a really, really hard time. A really hard time. Like, to be in a state where you're manic and you feel like you need to tire yourself out. So you're producing music so that you can kind of cope. Sounds horrifying, to be honest. And I'm really sorry to hear that T Ledger has to go through this, you know? This is really interesting. Always last in every part of my life. I come last in the carnival, come last, the athlete carnival come last, and the best parents I come last. Nah, not really, I come second best. I'm second best for the time. And that gives you some credits because there's a guy that makes similar music to me at times when I make beats with footage, who is a nice guy too, and he's like 40 something, I'm only 25, but I used to think I was him. I'll talk about it more in my next song, but I made a song that sounded exactly like one of their songs, and it's just because the sample I used was kind of copied from that. It wasn't actually because I'm him, but I'm the same height as him. It's a shame, because I know that he's saying some really interesting stuff, and I can hear parts of it, but the other instruments are just overwhelming the mix a little bit. it part of me says turn up the vocals, but at the same time, I know it's not as easy as that. You know, like you have to be wary of how the EQing is, how it's going to sort of affect the rest of the instruments. Because if you have too much brightness in a mix, it can kind of sound a bit shrill. You know what I mean?
It fucking mind swells, it mind boggles me. Now I've got such a cycle, it's like it's not exactly like it, and then I'm about being him afterwards. So I did rap it. I just told my mum that I can sing and I reckon rap. I guitar, play piano, and I might have a producer, I produce effects and around the world. And I'm just like, no, I'm actually not him. I'm working psychotic. But the thing is, I'm just struggling ahead. I'm 25. I'm not doing something. I'm not a guy from France that makes really good electronic music. Canada's one of the best. But this sounds like he could be made for me too. So I get psychosis because I know how to make music like him. But I do look at.
You know, this music sounds like someone having a really massive internal conflict, eh? It sounds brutal. It's really tough. It sounds incredibly difficult to deal with.
Or something, because he has a YouTube, he wears a mask. But the thing is, I don't wear a mask. I can go in public all the time with my hair grinding all over the way, and I just need some mask at the moment. But I think to start last at 6, and the thing is, the girl I was with is not there next to me anymore, and it won't be forever again, I reckon. But it's not about, because I made this song basically, I'm not saying anything bad, I'm not trying to be controversial or anything. Maybe some people get pissed off that I had sex before marriage, but the thing is, like, you gotta test the waters a bit and actually get some practice before you go to a Wednesday and you're hungry and fucking blown.
We are just going on a journey right now. We are just going on. This is one of the most surreal experiences I've had as a music reviewer. This is someone literally pouring their heart out, what they're thinking about. They're just, and it is, you know, like it kind of is rapping, you know, like it's fast. It's visceral.
Some people can just last long the first time. I didn't. I came in like a second. It doesn't matter. I can last like hours now. I'm not on a bike. Like in finish up this like you discussed. But I'm just trying to win. I'm just telling you the truth. Like what is right, what is wrong. Is shit a swear word? I'm like smoking a bong is wrong in a way because it's illegal, but it should be illegal. Is law still in today's time still relevant?
Like, I feel like this is all intentional. Like, it's a really unnerving experience with these instruments that sound like they're kind of in like a fever dream, you know? This music sounds like I'm in a fever dream, and I'm not entirely happy with it, but I understand that's potentially meant to represent maybe the situation that T. Ledger is in.
Like, yes, of course it is. Don't like do the 7 deadly sins, but I don't remember reading a bong being a sin in the Bible in the 10 Commandments. Why did I just burp?
I mean, let's talk about this track. Let's just like we'll do it bit by bit. I'm gonna leave the vocals for last. I think the length of the song was really good at 3:49. I think that, you know, it's a single, 2 to 4 minutes. You know, it matches that well. The musical concept was kept throughout. You know, they had that kind of unnerving synthesizers and the drums and a really heavy kind of gritty bass that came in occasionally. You had it kind of flowing in and out like that kind of curve, you know, sort of a pseudo sort of fade out with the vocals at the end with him burping into the mic. It was interesting. It was interesting there. It never let up. It was consistently like kind of surreal for the entirety of the musical experience here. You know, the performance of the musical instruments themselves is fine. You know, stylistically they made sense together. In terms of T. Ledger and his vocal performance, I think it was literally just him telling us how he was doing and making a song out of that and discussing. I think there's stuff about masks and coming last or coming second best and talking about sex maybe and everyone needs experience. You know, there's a lot going on with the song. I can honestly say I've never listened to anything like this before. I've listened to music with a similar tonality where the music is potentially sort of, it's similar to this, but it's not quite on this level of like, this is someone kind of just pouring their soul out to you, you know what I mean? From what I understand about T. Ledger, he's produced a lot of material. I can only imagine that if he's going through stuff, this is his way of coping with the situation, is to write music. In a way, I think that's fantastic. It's kind of the epitome of what music should be, is for it to be like, it needs to be this real. This is the realest kind of music you can come across. It's just, this type of music may not be for everyone. It's, like, I'm not quite sure how the vocals were recorded. If I was to provide any sort of suggestions for future work, it may be worth having a look at the microphone that we're using, because I'm just not sure if it's at the same sort of like frequency response that we have for some of the other instruments within the mix. But I again, when you're starting out, or even when you're just making music, I'm not going to sort of be like, you need a better mic in order for music to be good. That's not it at all. It's just that it was difficult for me to hear some of the parts of the song, and I just figure it's best to be honest about that. Yeah, I haven't really got a lot more to say about Heartbroken by T. Ledger from the album Sumi I Want to Die. I'm not sure if this is the album art for it. I went to T. Ledger's SoundCloud to get this off of his track release for it. But yeah, if T. Ledger is going through stuff, I really hope he can. So I really hope that things improve for him. Hopefully this music, this composition he's doing, is helping and making his life better. It sounds brutal, though. I can't imagine it. I just can't imagine what it would be like. So I wish him all the best. In the end of the day, I don't actually necessarily think this is a bad song at all. I think this is actually quite well done, because the lyrical content, the way it's more sort of conversational and about the struggles and the thought processes and everything, that dissonance does make sense with the music. So it's actually a reasonably well put together song. Just hopefully next time we can sort of make sure that the vocals are at the same sort of volume as the other instruments, and or if they are, it's just a matter of doing some shelving, some EQ work, getting rid of some of the lower frequencies to make it sort of sound a little bit like similar in terms of the EQ. But thank you for watching this review of T. Ledger's Heartbroken. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go T. Ledger some love via their various social medias and SoundCloud and Spotify pages, and stay cool, stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you next review. Spider hands out.